Hi, everyone. I'm Colleen and I'm here with Robin. Hi, Robin.
So,
This episode of the Reiki Lifestyle Podcast. Again, just so excited for our guest today, Olaf Böhm, and the incredible book that he has written that is published at last. I know what an incredible work of love that you have written and shared with us all. And so we're really excited to get into it and into your story and your adventures in writing the book, all the peoples that you have met, the teachers who came before us. So I do want to get into it, but I just want to tell everybody a little bit about you first, and then you can tell everybody about you too. So Olaf became a Reiki practitioner in 2003 in India, and then also in 2008 with Gendai Reiki Ho under the guidance of Doi Sensei, and Komyo Reiki Kai with Inamoto Yukishina Sensei. So anyway, he has been really researching the history and the evidence-based history of Reiki in Japan, and it's an extraordinary piece of work. So I'm really excited to get into it. I know that you have been a main presenter at the centenary celebration in 2023 in Osaka. I got to be there also. We will put all of how to contact you in the show notes. Komyodo.com, KOMYODO.com. And then also we'll put your YouTube channel and how to get your book. So the book is Reiki, A Journey to Oneness with the Universe, Early Documents and Practices of Usui Sensei's Reiki Therapy. So welcome.
Thank you, Colleen. Nice introduction. Yeah, I'm very happy to talk with you and Robin here. It's my great pleasure and honor. Thank you.
You are so welcome. Thank you. Like I say, we know what a labor of love this has been and how much work you have put into it. And for the listeners, truly, it's an exceptional book with really so much history of Reiki that is very clearly documented all the way back to Usui. So why don't we go ahead and get started with your story? Let's just start there.
So, as you mentioned before, I have met Reiki in India in 2003 while being on a pilgrimage to the source of the Ganges. And I was traveling with a good friend from Tasmania and an Austrian lady, and we went there in off season. So it was very cold, no tourist, and he was sitting in a local bus for about 15, 17 hours. And this bus was very packed and crowded, and I could not stretch my legs. So it was very painful for me. And my friend from Tasmania, he told me he's a Reiki master and a Reiki healer. He could take my pain away. So he laid his hand on my knees, and this pain was relieved. And I was very surprised and wondered, what is this? And later on, I asked him if it's possible to learn this Reiki. And he introduced me into the first level of Reiki on that journey. And I was practicing from my own with my family in 2003 to 2006. I went again to India, and I wanted to continue with level 2. And then I met my next teacher, Martin Stock from Canada, because in India there is, especially in Dharamsala near the Dalai Lama area, kind of a hotspot of spiritual practices. And you can learn yoga there, crystal healing, and also Reiki. And thanks to the meeting with Martin Stock, my pathway was leading to Gendai Reiki. So he introduced me to Gendai Reiki, where I became a Reiki master in 2008. So so this is kind of my Reiki training journey. And I always wanted to know about Usui Sensei and how it started with him. So I was thinking that I need to go to Japan because this is the place where Reiki started. And since 2009, I went there regularly, and slowly, little snippets on my pathway came to me, and I could find a few things. And regularly attending the Reiki sharing gatherings of Doi Sensei and also Yakuten Sensei, which was very beneficial for me, especially practicing Reiki, and then later on to find more kind of documents.
Well, then what led you to the level of research that you have actually done here? And share with us about that story.
So it was, I think, around 9 years ago. I was researching in the internet on Japanese websites. I don't speak Japanese, but I know how to research some things. And I was able to find one second-hand bookshop dealer north of Tokyo. And he showed a picture with some old documents. And I contacted him and asked him if I could visit him so that I can have a look on these precious items. And he agreed for a meeting, and this was kind of for me a big pleasure to go there. And as I don't speak Japanese, one friend of mine, she joined me. Her name is Izumi Ueno. I have met her on one Dalai Lama teachings, and she was very happy to go with me on this little adventure in this small town of Tokyo on the far north. So when we went there, his name is Mr. Takayama. He was very open and very kind, and he was showing me freely everything what he's got. This was the collection of the Kato couple, and and I was really overwhelmed to see such prints of the Gokai and also the little booklets for the first time, like a real document from 100 years ago. So as we had a nice talk there, and and my excitement was very big, and already he could read one little article, How I Met Justin Stein, my very good friend. I prepared this article also in Japanese, so he was kind of more interested in what I'm doing. So I told him that I wanted to know more about history, which is very difficult to find something. And we had another second meeting where I was only asking him, so can I make some photos of this collection? But at the end of the story, he handed over it to me and told me, the only thing he told me in English, this is for you forever.
Oh.
So I was like, I knew immediately this will be a book. I didn't know how many years it will take and what else will happen on this journey. So this is, I think it was in 2017, this meeting, and I had already before a kind of a meeting with some other spiritual practice. So where I have visited the descendants of Tanaka Morihei. Tanaka Morihei is known for the Taireno method and had been a few times connected with Reiki, but this is a total different things. But this adventure was, already, it was showing me, go on the pathway and then you will find something. On that journey, I received my first item, which was, guiding me on my pathway, which is seen here in this area, is the Komyo light. So there it really started. And then the second time in the same year with the meeting with Mr. Takayama, this was for me like a life-changing point. Yeah, and in that years, I came twice to Japan. So in the springtime for a few weeks and a couple of weeks also in the autumn time. And in between, I was working my regular job in Germany and working with mental handicapped people. And I'm very happy that my company allowed me to come and go. So these documents came to me. It took also a long time to understand. So like understanding the certificates of the level of Reiki, like Shoden is parted into 4 levels, for example, and Okuden, the 2 levels is only one scroll, and also the little booklets, where it's only where the treatment places are only listed, but no explanation, which had been shown in Frank Petter's book, the handbook of Dr. Usui. And actually he was showing with the pictures, and actually 100 years ago they only have the name of the place. So and a few more things.
So these are the books that are in your book.
Yes.
And that you share in your book. What an amazing gift.
So when Mr. Takayama gave it to me, I was like, I need to share it with the global Reiki community, as we don't have at that time don't have so much knowledge about Usui Sensei or even documents, which is really hard to find, because Usui Sensei's Reiki method, they had their little publications, but always in a small number. And and sometimes I can be very lucky to find something through a friend on the market or from private collections, because after the war, many places shut down. I heard already stories like, I know about it, but I throw it away, the stuff from my grandfather. So this, and still I'm looking for things to preserve it for future Reiki generations. This is my goal, and and I see this pathway as like my challenge.
Yeah, well, for sure, because even as you were talking about your story with it, thinking about the fact that, and I want to make sure I say his name correctly, Mr. Takayama, that actually had those documents and knew what they were.
So Mr. Takayama, he told me he got it also from one book fair, and he knew about Reiki. He learned also Reiki, but he was not so interested. He's more interested in osteopathy and Chinese medicine. So he have also a very big collection on that. And on his shop ground, it's like so many stuff. I think he have around 10 workers and selling books and really secondhand things. But his focus on like a spiritual text is really amazing, and I think that he will be looking still something for me. We have still nice contact, and he's really looking forward what my book will be. So he's waiting for a Japanese version, actually.
Oh, nice. Well, and probably then he'll keep his eye out if he comes across any other documents or information or books. What an amazing just serendipity. Of course, we know it's not just serendipity, but what amazing inner guidance on your part to even find that.
That's what I was going to ask, Olaf. What guided you to that bookstore or to Mr. Takayama? I know you kind of mentioned it, but I'd like to just go a little bit into more depth around.
Yes, so I was researching on Usui Reiki in Japanese in the Yahoo, and his shop was appearing with a short article where the Gokai calligraphy by Ushida was presented in some old books in a very small picture. So I used the Google translation from that time, which was not so good like nowadays, and asked him if I could meet him, and he agreed. It was for me new as well, and so when I saw these books in front of me in Mr. Takayama's office, so I realized that the Kokan Ninja Setsume, where the interview with Usui Sensei is written with in the backside is a little address list of the branches of the Usui Reiki Gakai. And furthermore, this little red booklet with the 100 poems of Meiji. So this was kind of fascinating. And even when I sit there and my friend Izumi translated to me what I see there and what Takayama is telling me to. So I was, this was at 125 poems, right? No, it's written 100 poems. And then inside, I could see the Gokai printed, but without mentioning Usui Sensei. And the author of this red book is Ushida Sensei and two other fellow students of Usui Sensei. So they took part in choosing these poems. When talking about the poems, it took also a long time to translate them because my friend Rika Zaohashi, she was working on it over 2 years, and she really devoted herself into the historical material of a Meiji emperor and diving into these poems of the emperor and trying to transmit into a modern Japanese and then translate them into English for me. And thanks to her, I could share this translation. While that meeting, also the Gokai print, which everybody know, like in a black and white style without a hanko. So I received that original version on these kind of very special paper. Later on, I learned this is Honso paper. It's a ceremonial paper and a block print with wood, a wooden block print. When later on the hanko was set on the signature of Usui Sensei. So I don't know if it's from his hand, but the handwriting looks from him and was shared with the new Usui Reiki Gakai members, I think, in the first meetings as a spiritual advice for daily life. And at this meeting, then Mr. Takayama was presenting these things. He also unfolded this white paper with the Gokai handwritten by Ushida Sensei. So and he was, I was overwhelmed to see this handwriting, to see like the ink, how it was soaked into the white paper and how precise he was drawing the kanjis. And as we know, he's also the calligrapher of the memorial stone of Usui Sensei. And I feel very grateful every day to see them here. And and being reminded.
I want to just real quick, Colleen, I see you, but I just wanted to, because we actually had some technical difficulties. And so we paused the recording and we picked back up. Colleen, can you explain what you asked Olaf? Because I did start the recording as he started talking, but I didn't have you on the recording for what you were saying about where we got started talking, Colleen.
Okay, so what I asked Olaf right when we came back was to talk about these books because he actually has the pictures of them and the Japanese kanji writing and the translation of them in his book. And so they are here shared with us. And I know that you have really asked people to honor the copyrights and not photocopy things out of the book because of the even the Japanese traditions of privacy and sharing. But that's why I wanted to talk about these books, because he actually printed them in his book, in this book. And so I'm holding it up for those of you that are on video seeing it. Again, it's called Reiki, A Journey to Oneness with the Universe, Early Documents and Practices. That's what's in here of Usui Sensei's Reiki therapy. And I also was so fascinated by the 100 poems of Meiji. Here's something that I think I learned that I did not know. I What I read in your book is Usui Sensei actually wrote the Gokai. I always thought they were one of Meiji's poems.
So, as we know, the Gokai are in a similar form published by one kind of a spiritual master named Suzuki Buzan around 10 years before Usui Sensei started with Reiki. And yeah, they are different to the poems of Meiji. And I think Usui Sensei read that book and thought this is good and transmitted into Reiki and for his students as a daily advice. So we have it with the signature. So this is, yeah, for me, without a doubt, his message to his students. The Meiji poems are a little bit different are very different. And for people who don't know, the Emperor Meiji wrote in his life around 100,000 poems. And this is a selection of 100. And if we keep in mind that also Usui Sensei's master students, most of them was in the Navy and honored the Meiji Emperor very much, as well as Usui Sensei. So they wanted to have this as a spiritual advice as well. So how the idea came to include them, I have no idea. But the existing of this little red book was very surprising to me. But I knew about it before. And and I saw in the book of Mochizuki Sensei's book, black and white picture. I saw this little booklet, and he mentioned there this is from a Hayashi Sensei student or something like that. But now I know, as I know the inside, this booklet was published 1 month before Usui Sensei passed away. So this is like a lifetime witness, which is amazing. And after the war, these Gokai, these poems of Meiji, the Gyosei, changed as well. So the Usui Rikiryo Hogakai changed some of them, and they did it again, I think, in the 90s. So far as I know, what I can see in my kind of collection.
Olaf, are those the originals behind you?
Yes.
Are those the originals?
Yes.
And can you clarify, because we have a very broad range of who listens to this podcast, can you clarify who Yoshida is?
Yoshida Sensei, he was a very high-ranked Navy admiral. In his time, he was very well known. He is, I could, if I remember right, if he was a captain on the Yamamoto, I don't know, but I'm not into the war so much, but he was very high ranked. And beside of his military work, he was also a passionate calligrapher. And I knew that he honored Usui Sensei very much and helped him, I think, while spreading Reiki, as many Navy officers became Reiki practitioners through Usui Sensei. And so this is something very nowadays strange, that people from the military practicing a spiritual practice. So thanks to them, they made some good support for Usui Sensei, and thanks to them, Reiki was spreading in the country very fast in such a short time of 4 years.
And he was the fourth or second president of the Gokai, right?
Uchida Sensei, he was the second president for around 10 years. And then Taketomi Sensei took over this position.
And what I read about it in your book was that Usui actually asked Yoshida Sensei to take over the Gokai while he was traveling, not really knowing that he was going to pass, and then it just passed to Yoshida because of that.
So this information I received from Doi Sensei. He told me about it, but I don't know about his source. But for me, it sounds highly possible that it was that way, as we know that Usui Sensei had a few strokes before he's passing, and the story is fitting for me.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another source in Mochizuki Sensei's book, which is very beneficial. So he showing a text from a student named what's his name? Mine-san. I can add later. But in Mochizuki Sensei's book, it's written that Tetsutaro Mine, I think is the name. He wrote also a little booklet, which I never saw in original, but a passage was shown by Mochizuki Sensei that Usui Sensei passed away in a hotel or while a Reiki gathering in some inn in the Fukuyama. And this was very interesting to read for me, and I hope that there will be some more discovery on that. So when Usui Sensei left Tokyo, he probably knew that he's not coming back, and told to Ushida Sensei, please take care about the society. I will continue my journey. And unfortunately, he passed away on that.
Well, I think the other important fact of all of that is, as you wrote at the very beginning of the book, that so many of the spiritual practices of the day did not continue because the founders did not provide a successor. And that was something unique that Usui decided even at the very beginning that he would share this gift with the world, the gift of Reiki with the world, rather than keep it for himself and his family. So it wasn't dependent on, a son or a child to continue the tradition.
Yes, this is for what I hear even from my friend who passed away, Yoshinaga Sensei. He was a very beneficial source for me. He told me also he was very into these Seishin Ryoho, the spiritual practices of Japan, and about 100 years ago. And he told me it's rarely happened that people were thinking that way to share it openly, like Usui Sensei did. It was usually again, Tanaka Morihei, he don't have a successor. And the family was not interested to continue, and the idea to make a teacher wasn't there. And sometimes even some practices has passed away with the founder and the non-interest of the family members.
Oh, so even the idea of creating a teacher that could continue the teachings was a new idea.
Yes. I
Fascinating.
think so. As Usui Sensei mentioned, or like few see in the documents, that especially the Kokan Denju Setsume, the public teachings where we can read Usui Sensei's words. There he talked about over 1,000 students. On the memorial stone, 2,000 students. And and at the end of his life, I think he started to create teachers, teach them. And only 2021 was, have the kind of ability to being a good teacher. So I think he chose very wisely who is ready for that.
Go ahead, Robin.
I was just going to say, I don't necessarily, and Colleen, you might have a related question. So in case you do, ask that before. But I was just going to ask, what are some of the other documents that are really important that you discovered through this process? Because as Colleen said, I haven't had a chance to fully read the book. So, I haven't seen everything in there. But what were some of the ones that were really, in addition to the ones that you've mentioned, that were really meaningful to you or that you would like to talk about?
So what I could learn about the discovery, especially with these, this Reiki student couple, Kato, they, that less is more, and that the practice just started to develop in these 4 years, and especially like the treatment outlines, these and they was called Shiryotai, which was included later on in the Hikei, was composed by Taketomi Sensei. So, and he wrote there, these are my experience and what I have heard from Usui Sensei. So for me, it shows me like Usui Sensei had a great gift from the universe and wanted to share it. And later on, the practices and the seriousness of students, they collect together the knowledge what they have found in their Reiki practice. And so these documents was created. On my pathway, like on collecting more documents, I could find even some guidelines of treatment from the Wakayama branch of the Usui Reiki Gokai, which I've used also some other treatment positions. So every little branch had his own leading Shihans, teachers and practitioners who, documented their experiences. And I hope there will be a little bit more coming up. So before the war, there was over 60 branches, and I really wonder if there are some history and stories are left, and I hope to find them.
And make the connections with the people. What an adventure.
Yes.
And I know that in Japan, there is such a specific protocol for that and appropriateness of meeting people and how that's done, where here in the States, we might just pick up the phone and say, hey, I heard this about you. So it's a little bit more etiquette around it in Japan.
It would be really great if this would work. Picking up the phone, hello, I'm from Germany. Can you show me your stuff? I have found your name of your grandfather in my documents. No. I have been many times in Japan, and my experiences, I have met incredible people, not only Reiki, so loving people, and personal appearance is so important, especially in Japan. And I had experience. People were skeptic with me, but in a personal meeting, some things changed, even like my feeling for this person. So they got interested what I'm doing. And they become open. So to some of them, I'm very grateful that I could even share some family pictures of Usui Sensei. And they don't want to be mentioned, these people, but I'm very, very grateful that I could do that. And they could see how important it is that at least some knowledge could be shared. That Usui Sensei is a really person, and and that he got a long life, and now we have also the new information of him, and that he becoming more like a vivid person, or someone who's a little bit closer, or like not even like a spiritual leader, also a human being.
Yes, and also that probably in his day he was well known in a certain population of people, but not in the way that he is globally known today. Even the same on Mount Karama, and how, for them, I think they became aware of him through Jessica Miller's book and her interactions, or maybe before that. I don't know if you know anything about when the priests on Mount Karama became aware of Usui Sensei and his pilgrimage there. Of course, now it's widely, people go to Mount Karama commonly, so for
Yeah.
Reiki, and they're very aware.
Yeah. What can I talk about this?
Oh, okay. All right. Well, what I'd like to go back to a little bit too is Usui Sensei's decision to share Reiki with the world, and how it's clearly written even here in your book through his writings, because it was an unusual decision at the time, and he was compelled to share it with the world. And on a personal level, I believe that is the energy, like the foundational energy of the Usui Reiki system and practices, is that compelling part to share with the world, make community with the world, join together through all the different lineages to honor one another. And that as my background is in shamanism, and that's not necessarily the same energy in that tradition. And so in this tradition, I feel very strongly that his decision ripples through the practices of Reiki today.
Yeah. So when I looked in, trying to look back into time, he was, as we know, that he was a well-read man, looking for the meaning of life, and he went to Mount Kurama and devote himself deeply into ascetic fasting, which was kind of well-known practice in that time. And and he had a great chance to feel the oneness of the universe, a moment of total bliss, which has been described in many religions and stories. Especially, I heard so many stories in India of that. And for me, it's amazing that he could have this experience and wanted to give this experience to other people, and telling them it can be so simple, but for many people it's not. But it's a pathway he created for us Reiki students.
Also, I think with that decision, because in current time, I don't know in Germany if you get this question, but we have a concern about cultural appropriation in the United States. That perhaps, is there any kind of conflict with practicing a Japanese tradition through the United States? And my answer to that is always that it was actually his first instruction. Usui Sensei's first instruction was to share this with the world. And so, can you speak to that?
Yeah, it's my thought is the same, that sharing with the people.
Yes.
And I think he was a very open-minded person. And if there would have been more foreigners in that country, probably one should have met him, or even there are some evidence, not they met Usui Sensei, but the great Zen master Tetsu Taro Daisuke, his wife, I think her name was Beatrix. She was living in Japan in that time, around the 30s and 40s. In her library, one member's booklet appeared. So I have no knowledge about how it was, if she went there, but somehow she had contact with this group, and one of the booklets came in her possession. One day there will be, something will be uncovered. But this energy of Reiki of Usui Sensei, it's very extraordinary, because we have not so, actually the documents are just a few, but the spreading inside Japan, and even after the war, through Japan to the world right now, this is something really amazing and fascinating. And this will continue, I hope.
Olaf, did you say there were 60 branches around? I know that might not be exact, in that period. Would you liken that to like how we talk about lineages today, or are they all the same lineage and just 60 different practices is that what you mean by branches?
I think they had the same teachings,
Okay.
and they invited Shihans, the teachers from Tokyo or wherever they lived, from Usui Sensei's trained teachers. They was traveling a lot and was invited to the branches. What I could read in some documents, and sharing Reiki. They only have Reiki gatherings where Reiki is practiced, as far as I know. And so different style. I don't think they probably only laid hands on, received the reiju, and I don't know so much more. And the techniques, changed from time to time. But calling them lineages, I don't know. They are one group. So
I was wondering, that kind of related to Colleen's question about how it's spreading throughout the world as well.
Well, and it's 7,000 members at the time. And didn't I see when we were in Tokyo in 2023, didn't you have actually some of the physical copies of the directories?
I had one with me, I think.
Yeah. So you were showing it at the time, like that you actually had some, or maybe we were just talking and you shared that the directories exist.
Yeah, they in that time they exist, and these directories. So when I saw the cover for the first time, and I thought it's a very thick book, but actually it's only a directory of addresses, and it's really incredible how precise they listed the members. And thanks to the Kato couple, while the meetings was happening in Okayama, when I think when Takatomi came there regularly, he brought updated sheet of papers, and Mr. Kato, he glued them into this directory book with the updated versions. So this can be a little, treasure list, going there and knocking there on the doors and asking, your ancestor probably being a member of a spiritual group. So I'm thinking of doing this. So maybe something nice appear.
And now, do you have the directories, or do the Katos have the directories?
I have them.
You have them. That's what I thought.
Yes.
I think you had them with you, but I might have imagined it as we were talking and imagined what that would look like. So I'm not sure if you actually had them or if I imagined it.
in my book, you can see the cover. So it's in this book collection.
Of that.
Just a random question. How do you store historical documents like that, like this, like logistical, like are they kept in a certain kind of,
In
filing cabinet, or I don't know how you store them.
So I have 2 fire resistance boxes. I keep them there. And there are some documents which I need to be careful because the old paper is very fragile. So I'm trying to keep them dry as possible. And this is easy here in Germany. In Japan, it's more difficult if you have the monsoon there. So so they are safe and they will be preserved.
I mean, I knew you would have them preserved, but I was like wondering, well, what does that even look like? I haven't thought about that before. So
it's safety boxes and
makes
as
sense.
dry as possible.
Yeah, and keep them dry. Yeah,
and no sunlight. So the sunlight.
Okay, like you see in museums and things like that, or historical books that you see and things. Yeah, okay.
So in some of the beginning chapters of your book, you talk about Usui's, his own definitions of Reiki and the meaning of Reiki. Also, you talk about his family and with some of the family photographs. So can you share a little bit more about his family?
So about his family, he came from a small village, Taniai, and so thanks through a friend, I could have a look into the family album and was allowed to share these pictures. And they didn't know so much about Usui Sensei, so they knew more about the Kuniji Sensei. So, and they told me that Kuniji was a teacher of Reiki, a Shihan, and I'm very sure that he learned Reiki through his brother and became also Shihan through him. But this I don't know exactly. But this information appeared, I think, around 5-6 years ago. Oh no, even a little bit earlier. I think 10 years ago. I heard about a certificate of Okuden for a student who learned with Usui's brother. Yeah, about Usui Sensei, I don't have so much information than that he left in an early age. This is what Doi Sensei found out, and came from time to time to Taniai, for visitation of his family. So what else? And Kuniji, he was actively practicing Reiki. He had a dojo in Gifu City, and there was regular meetings. He's also listed in the branches of the Usui Reiki Gokai, so he was connected with them. And until the war, there was regular meetings, and I was very happy to meet one student of him who went there as a child. And his mother brought him there for the Reiki gatherings, and he didn't remember so much. But when I showed him my collection, a lot of memories came up, and this was really amazing. So this person, he must be now, I think, 95. Wow. And till the war, he went there regularly. But after the war, the dojo was destroyed. And there was no more Reiki practice in Gifu. Even Kuniji Sensei, he stopped. And so thanks to the meeting, I could hear a little bit about how it was in that time. And this was really great that he could learn Reiki in such a young age. He was 12 years when he received Okuden. But all his life he didn't practice. So thanks to a coincidence, he was found through a physiotherapist who practiced also Reiki. And he said, oh yeah, I remember that I went to this Reiki dojo before the war with my mom. When I have met him, the first time was amazing because he was surprised by my visit. The second time, I could experience that it was his excitement was about to meet this foreigner with probably Reiki questions. It was making him nervous, and his memory was a little bit difficult because he had, I think he was losing a little bit about mind, maybe dementia. So we had a very nice tea, and then I just left him. But the first meeting, it was amazing.
And this is actually the first time I have personally found out about Usui's brother, Kunichi. Kunichi, am I saying that correctly?
Kunichi.
And that you've got photos of him in the book and information about him. So he is new information for me.
It was also for me very new when I first time saw the certificate he was giving out, and then later on meeting my friend Niji, who was very kind to share things with me. This was amazing. And also about the other brother Sanya, who became a very high ranked lieutenant in the Russian-Japanese War, and also a doctor in Tokyo, Asabu. But as far as I hear, that he has no connection with Reiki.
Okay. Yeah, so that chapter is also beautiful. And then your next chapter is about Usui's journey to Karama. And I love the photos in there because, of course, I've been there a few times now, and this is so amazing to see the actual old photos of it. Can you talk about a little bit from that chapter too, on his journey?
So, as it is known that Usui Sensei has studied Zen in Kyoto, probably. I don't know if he was lived there, but I hear that he was based more in Tokyo. About the pictures of Mount Kurama 100 years ago, I have watched one time a YouTube video of a German YouTuber called Mirror. She's a very funny. She did the Harry Potter podcast. She's talking about 5-minute parts of the movie, and for this 5 minutes, she used 1 hour sometimes. And in one episode, she had a conversation with her brain. How, I think, where one castle, the gate, how it was looking, how it was looking like 100 years ago, because she saw this proper road, and in the movie you see a mud road, and she wanted to know, was the mud road new or not? And then the brain says, oh, old postcards. And there was Mount Kurama, old postcards. Check it out. And then I was looking for old postcards of Mount Kurama, and I could find really a lot. Even some pictures have been made before the sensei went on this mountain. So this was really great to see. And you can see also the old temple, the main temple, because it was burned down, I think, in the 50s or 60s. And also the Osugi Gongen tree, so the well-known tree in before it was struck by a lightning. So having a look on Mount Kurama, how Usui Sensei have seen it, this was even for me very, kind of emotional, bringing me back into time, like a little time travel.
Yes. Right. Well, that and just even, well, in the picture of the great tree in here too. Um, and so showing the roots at the top of the tree, I'm at the top of the mountain, and his spiritual experience of oneness and Satori there. Really beautiful. And then you talk about going over the other side to Kabuni. Do you typically go up through the main gate or do you come up through Kabuni? Or
I
both?
have been, I, as I have been many times in Japan, um, I did many ways. Mainly, I come from the front, but also I came from the back many times. So I've been at Mount Kurama maybe 60, 70 times.
Okay.
So I did many ways, and yeah, thanks to some coincidence, I have met in India a very nice guy who playing flute. He study Indian music. He's a car parking guard in Kibune. So after visiting Kurama, I stay some time with him there, and yeah, he's also fascinating what kind of knowledge I bring down from Mount Kurama, because he had also no idea about Reiki, but being so connected with some people, which is very beautiful. And Kurama is an amazing power spot. And it had changed so many times in the past 100 years. So even like the proper tree, which was struck by lightning, and now it's gone, unfortunately, after the typhoon in 2019. And there will be another change, as I heard on my last journey to Japan. On my last day, I went to Kurama, and I could meet the one of the Kurama temple people. There was one lady, one member of the group, and the forest department guy. So they was talking about to creating a new spot on Tsugigongen. So I'm very excited what will happen there in the near future. So yeah, another change.
Right up at the top where the shrine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they want to create a beautiful place. And I have told her there will be a lot of Reiki practitioner to contribute to make this place very comfortable and beautiful. And she told me that the spirit of the mountain was calling. So they want to arrange something.
So, did I just hear you correctly in case anybody else hears that? Are they inviting donations for that?
I'm in contact with them, but she never brought me back, so I don't know
Okay.
what will happen. I if I receive something, I will ask her again. So then we immediately will share. So
Yeah.
it would
Okay.
be great.
Well, again, I know there's certain etiquette with that. We were fortunate to have a conversation, I think it would have been in 2023, with the priest of the mountain, and he talked about how they were listening to the mountain and to the trees and to the spirits of the mountain for what would be replanted, what would be built again, and that they were taking all the time they needed for the mountain to respond, for them to receive the guidance on what would be rebuilt and which trees and which plants were being replanted.
Beautiful to hear. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Well, I love that too because it's so indicative of the spirit of all things and Usui's, um, personal practices too, the awareness of the oneness of the universe, the oneness of the earth and everything on the earth as well.
Yeah.
I certainly personally always come back from there with a new level of inner peace.
Yes, very energy changing place. So every time is different. Every visit is different. I had on all these visits, and sometimes totally alone, or sometimes I meet very interesting groups. And yeah, so it's a very calm spending place. Yeah.
Olaf, do you practitioner or teach, or is your path right now on this um, its own pilgrimage of collecting and documenting the documents that you're coming across?
So right now, I'm only practicing for myself and my very close friends and on work. Yeah, I will teach soon a little bit more, and I want to continue this adventure definitely. So yeah, I'm just starting to become public, and yeah, and I really wonder where this journey goes. So, but I have students, and before COVID, I was very active in India, and then COVID came, and then yeah, so I was focusing on my book and yeah, working these things out.
Well, we can certainly see why it took so long to actually produce, because the details and the photographs and everything are just truly truly amazing. It's like a textbook, and but also very readable.
Yeah.
So
Doesn't read like a textbook.
doesn't read like a textbook, but it's very readable.
The wealth of knowledge that's in there. And I, also just love how, as you're collecting, almost even seems like the wrong word. But as you are coming across these documents, just the honoring of the traditions and the etiquette and the people and historical and present, I can imagine that piece of it also includes the time that it takes to honor everything in this journey that you're on with it.
Yes, I have the feeling since long time that history want to unfold.
Yes.
So this is this is also my passion to help to find things if there's something left, especially stories of how Usui Sensei was teaching or what kind of adventures was happening. So this is still a mystery for me. And also all these items are not just that paper for me. So somebody was going to the meetings and received it, and this paper was there. So I see also the story behind and the person I try. So yeah.
That's
and,
beautiful.
It really
and
is. So
I
here's
hope,
another, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
and I hope to maybe in future to find a place where I was already asked where to put these things.
Mhm.
So I hope there will be something created, but this will take a little bit more time, but it will, I want to preserve them for future generations.
Well, and I know, when I learned Reiki in 2000, it was still, the history was still in the mythology, kind of, not mythology, that's not really accurate, but there wasn't any actual evidence-based history that we were aware of in the West. One of the things I see in your book, with all of the books, even after the war, there was actually quite a bit written about Reiki in Japan. So, I think a lot of us weren't aware of the information and the historical information really prior to the 2000s.
2000s, as Doi Sensei was
Yeah.
known in the West very fast, and he shared a lot of knowledge. And thanks to Mrs. Yamaguchi also, some knowledge appeared, and also Yakuto Inamoto Sensei. And thanks to his English speaking gift, this is amazing, especially also for me. There's something already started, especially with the Usui Reiki Ho international gatherings. So also a kind of a turning point.
A big turning point. And I know for me in my personal practice, it was a huge turning point because some of what I learned in 2000, when I originally heard the original history of Reiki as it was told to me, and I don't really even know the exact source of that original history that I was taught. But when I learned more about the evidence-based history of Reiki, it really opened the doors in my personal practice to be able to really find that inner truth within about the practice and the energy and its meaning. One of the things I want to make sure that I was new information again, lots of new information, but this is really fascinating that Tomobechi, if am I saying that correctly? Tomobechi?
Betty.
That he actually was one of the 21 teachers Usui taught, and that he eventually was served 3 terms in the House of Representatives, 1 term in the House of Councilors, and then it says that he was one of the 6 Japanese signatories of the San Francisco Treaty, which established the terms of peace between Japan and the Allied powers.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yes.
This is,
Understatement.
yeah, this is amazing.
It gives me chills, even
Yeah,
saying it.
yeah, and he was also, what was it? Chemical. So
Yes,
he invented a fertilizer, if I remember right.
yes.
Talking in his biography, he's talking about Reiki. Just so it's another world, but he did. Um, when Yeah, I remember Justin. He made a translation of this text. I made the German one, and it was also for me amazing to read. And these are the words of a student of Usui Sensei, and he is one, and he's one of these peace contract signators. And recently, I got a newspaper from that time with a big picture of it, so I will share it soon. So yeah, that's such a political person following our spiritual practices is amazing. So this would be really great if our politicians nowadays would do that's the same.
Another understatement.
This would be really great.
Sending Reiki for them to want Reiki. So I just want to share with the listeners that you actually published the written article by Tomobechi and also then the translation of it and
Yes.
his story of his time with learning Usui from Usui Sensei and how important it was for him in his personal health and well-being. And then carrying it, like you say, he was the president of the Greater Japanese Chemical Fertilizer Company and Nissan Chemical Industries, and then became this politician who actually was one of 6 signatories.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's amazing.
it's astonishing information and kind of feels like that next connection with the West, like how that, and Justin Stein's book, always talking about the currents and how the current, the global current,
Yeah,
goes back and forth.
yes,
Yeah.
this is amazing. Yeah.
And the
Uh,
reconciliation, because one of your chapters is about the reconciliation.
so yeah, just sharing with people. So this is important. Even nowadays, reconciliation with so many groups would be amazing. And history unfolding. And I think this knowledge will, even my book, open up to everyone, especially Reiki practitioners, that we are coming from one source. And yeah, and how Reiki can reach people, especially like a person like Jizo Tomobeshi, from from a practitioner to a leading person in politics. This is amazing. So everybody can do it.
Was that
Everybody can do it. Go ahead.
everybody? Was that not was that article or from before the war or after the war?
Just after. So
After.
this
Okay.
book was published, I think, in 51 or 52,
Okay.
something like that.
Interesting, because it was like the spiritual practices after the war changed, right? As far as how public people could be with the older pre-war traditional ideas of the spiritual practices. So that's actually even even more unbelievable that he would have quote unquote admitted to that as being a part of his life and practice.
So yeah, this was a very challenging time. The Japan had many destroyed cities, and yeah, the society was facing a kind of a new world.
Yeah.
And spiritual practices, I think they don't have the no mind for it. So everybody was focusing to rebuild, coming together, and what will happen with Japan. So they needed to create an economic wonder. So there was no space for old tradition to try to rebuild their country in the best way. So yeah, a lot of branches closed after the war.
Yeah.
So only just a few left.
Well, and let me know if I'm accurate with this understanding of that part of it, is that many of them closed because it was being required that they become licensed in order to continue the practice publicly. Is that accurate information?
I don't know, but
Okay.
it's evidence that they closed. Some chapters has been destroyed. From my list, I checked a few, so the places are not anymore there. So, like in Okayama, the branch of the Katos, is now a parking lot, or same like the Hayashi Sensei's address. And yes, so I think some people lost their interest. So I have no idea how it happened. So I hope one time witnesses will share some knowledge on this, how it was in the 50s.
Right. Yes. And those reasons, like you say, what were the reasons behind it at that time? That, of course, just rebuilding.
Yeah, I like that's an interesting perspective and not one that is shared commonly, I feel, as to a part of the reason why after the war, many of these spiritual practices, um, I think a lot of the words that have been used are like they had to go underground and some of those kinds of words, but just even that idea that, of course, the rebuilding and not really having space for that, and how interesting that he was in this exact example, had a fertilizer chemical, another quote unquote company in that kind of rebuilding idea, but then also practiced Reiki. But I think that's an interesting perspective too, Olaf, that I like to hear that's also a part of what happened.
So from my point of view, so the old people who have been before the war in the branches or the Gokai, they continued the meeting in a way, but didn't introduce new members or something. So something stopped. And I think also that spiritual practices from before the war was not really welcomed. So they keep silence and continued till the 90s until it came to know that they are still there. As there was a time in Western Reiki, it was believed it has been gone. Yeah, so.
Exactly. Well, and that's the other part of your book, is showing the books that were written from those times after the war that I actually I wasn't aware that there were books written in Japan after the war about Reiki. And you have those books listed too.
Yeah. You talking about from the 80s?
Yes.
Yeah. So we knew about Koyama Sensei's book, which is a kind of a phantom book in Japan. So this is in 1986 printed, as well as 1 year later we have the Twilight Zone magazine, which I'm still searching, an original copy, where for the first time Fumio Ogawa, a descendant of a Gokai member, was talking about Reiki. So they practice in the family, and somehow this magazine came to know about him, and they published an article about him. So yeah, and in the 70s there was the Reiki no Shiori in 1974, where Justin mentioned already that the last two presidents, they don't remember ever heard about this book. I have an original copy of that, and it describes Usui Sensei's life quite well, and also some practices. So, but it was printed only 1,000 copies. But where it was distributed, I have no idea. Maybe probably in a local branch somewhere, not with the head office. I don't know, but it's in existence. And from that book, there's like, the president, Wanami Sensei mentioned. He was president of the Gokai in the 60s, 70s. I could had a talk with the email chat, was it, with his grandson, who remembered quite well receiving treatment from his grandfather, but he didn't become a member of the Gokai. But he have no memory of how this book was written or if there was any connection. So he didn't knew the name of the author, Fukushiro, I think was the name, or anything else about it.
Well, of course, it catches my attention with the Twilight Zone magazine. Is that similar to the TV show Twilight Zone? Is it, or is it just a similar name?
This was only the name, but the time is very fitting. The 80s episode. There's like a PDF copy of the Reiki article on the River's website. You can find it in the internet very easy. And it's described, I think, the meeting of Fumio Ogawa with this Japanese lady from New York, Mitsui. She was the Japanese translator of Barbara Ray Weber's book, The Reiki Factor.
Right.
So, but I never met her or something. I was looking if there's any email. I have some questions. Especially, I want to have the full magazine to have a look inside. What else was printed?
Yeah, I think we would be curious. Well, and I know we want to talk about the to have you share with us the precepts before we finish up. But one other question that I have is in the symbol section of the book, and you talk about some of the origins of the symbol. And the first symbol that you have here, oh, maybe because you didn't print the symbol. I was going to say the kanji that's here is very different than the symbol we typically use for the first symbol. So maybe I'm answering my own question. I was thinking the kanji that you have here was a drawing of the symbol, but then you also wrote that you didn't print the symbol, so this must be something different. Let me show you. I'll show you this page.
The bungee.
Yeah.
You mean the bungee? But this is this is a Buddhist symbol, and it's relating to that. So
I see. Okay, because I looked at
It's
it and I thought,
you
and now
can
as I'm
you can
talking, it's like, oh yeah, that's what you said.
yeah, it's looking similar to that, and it's a whole Buddhist symbol which you can find in Japan everywhere in a way. So yeah,
Right. Okay. That makes sense. And so, just for the listeners, he has a section on the symbols and the different meanings of them, and more about the fourth symbol, because there was also discussion as to whether or not Usui actually taught the fourth symbol. And so that has always kind of gone back and forth, and whether
yeah,
Mrs. Takata was the one who actually, I mean, I know the symbol existed way before her, but is she the one who actually brought it into the system of Reiki?
yeah. Doi Sensei, he mentioned that Usui Sensei called his students and showed him this symbol, and you should be light.
Yes.
And in my research adventure, yeah, when I received my first document, yeah, uh, this was also Komyo light. So when I hear this, I was like, wow. So Tanaka Morihei wrote Komyo for his students. So it's a good advice. And it's also, the Komyo, it's also a term in Buddhism about spiritual enlightenment.
And to become the light, to
Yes.
be the light.
And this is the best advice, shining and yeah,
Mm.
like light.
Shine your shine. That came through in a session last week, and they kept it kept repeating to this client, just shine your shine. And I was listening as the words were coming through. Just shine your shine. Mm. Simplistic meaning of it. Well, is there anything else you want to share? There's so much in here that we can't cover it all today. But we did want to, we do want to share the Gokai with us and the listeners that Olaf is going to share with us. Um, but before we start on that, I want to talk about the book one more time, how people can find it. We will put the links, of course, into the show notes. It is on Amazon, and one of the things we talked about is I wanted to just address the cost of the book. In US dollars, it's maybe $65 to $70. And the only reason that I want to bring that up is because it may be surprising when people first click on it. And for all of you that are interested in the book, the value is definitely there and worth it. And that wasn't Olaf's decision for it to be that cost. That all came through the publishers with Amazon and all of how that works. Um, but it is a very, very valuable resource and important book. So I just wanted to mention that part if anyone is going to get it on Amazon, that it's in that ballpark of the price, so that when they see it, they know already, and um, and that they have my endorsement of it's very worth it. So the other thing that I
Well,
would mention is it did take a little bit of time to get it. So it took a couple of weeks, I
okay,
think, to come in. Yeah,
2 weeks, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, sad to hear that it takes a long time because here in Germany or in Europe, it's much more faster. And yeah, unfortunately, the hardcover version of this book you cannot get outside of Europe. So the
Right.
hardcovers, the pictures are even in colors. So
Oh, in
yeah,
the hardcover book.
yeah, in the hardcover book, I put things in. Yeah,
Oh, show us, yes.
I worked
So
with
you'll
my.
have to let us know when that becomes available, because I will definitely want a copy of it.
So I'm looking for a solution, but it's
Oh,
very hard. And even the black and white pictures become more alive. And for example, so want to have the full, where is it? For example, like from the centenary.
Oh, beautiful.
So this is something
Yes.
even more alive, or even are we talking about the booklets to see them in which color they are.
Oh, yes, I can see that.
So that people get an imagination how the original really looks like, and not only a black and white print. For example, the red book here.
The red book of Meiji poems.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and that's nice touch and
nice touch. Yes.
yeah.
So for those of you that are listening that aren't looking at the video of this, Olaf was just showing the hardcover copy photos and the difference. And I will definitely want one of the hard copies when that becomes available in the US. In the meantime, the black and white is still really extraordinary. And so
Still good.
if anyone isn't wanting to wait,
Well, I was going to say too that it's not just important for our own personal practices, but it's important to the system of Reiki.
Yeah.
So, and Olaf, thank you so much for your I know you call it adventure, but how much you are contributing to the system of Reiki, and just how important all of this adventure is for all of us, and just how grateful we are.
Thank you. Yeah, it's for all Reiki practitioners. So it's a beautiful practice. And even we talked today much about documents and my adventure, but in my practices, it's beautiful as well. And it shows me how simple it is actually. So being here now and sending a good vibration to the universe, this is the basic thing. Yeah. Thank you very much. This is a nice talk, even with this, with my broken wire. But I really
well, the listeners we were paused, so they don't know about your
yeah.
computer going out. But through all of it, like you say, we're talking about some of the details of the book, but really, what shows is your big heart, and so that your sincerity and your heart in sharing this with the world is really what is here and present and in every page.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So for our listeners, if you still have the time, we would love to have you recite the Gokai with us and for us. And I think we're ready to do that now.
So, dear listeners, the audience, Yoen Gashu, you can listen now to the Gokai, the 5 principles of Usui Sensei for all Reiki practitioners in Japanese. Shofuku no io, manbyo no reaku, kyo dake wa, ikaruna, shinpai suna, kancha shite, yo hageme, ito ni shinsetsu ni. The mystic art to invite happiness into life. Spiritual medicine for all diseases. Just for today. Do not anger. Do not worry. Be grateful. Work diligently and be kind to others. These are the words of Usui Sensei for every practitioner, and may this benefit your practice and your day. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Again, just thank you so much. We have really appreciated you being here.
Thank you.
I know our listeners thank you too.
Ja, from heart in German, herzlichen Dank und ja, hope to see you soon again.
Yes. Okay, well, thank you to all the listeners.
See you next time. Thank you, everyone.